Well, for more on all this, let's bring in Chris Plante, a syndicated radio talk show host of The Chris Plante Show, and Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Good afternoon to both of you. Leslie, let's start with you. Hillary Clinton, boy, she was gracious. She was sincere. She was friendly, seemingly, today. Had she been more like that throughout the campaign, do you think the result would have been different today?
I'm not really sure, although it's funny, somebody said that to me before I came on, that where's that Hillary? And you guys have heard me say on this show even that if you met her, she's very different. There's a warmth about her, and I think that we saw that warmth today. What we also saw is somebody who is classy. I am glad that she did what she did and said what she said regarding a concession, a transfer of power. I'm not sure if it had gone the other way, it would have been that way. But with regard to some people voting for her, maybe she would have had more women likable in that column. But there were some people that just didn't come out to vote, whether it's they didn't like her, they didn't like either choice, or they just didn't feel their vote mattered.
Yeah, Chris, even Karl Rove was calling her address pitch perfect, unifying. But I'm wondering how long this unity, and we heard it from Paul Ryan today, we heard it from President Obama, how long will the unity last?
Not very long at all. I expect that they'll be back to demonizing and vilifying. And look, I've already heard calls for Chuck Schumer, who'll be the new Democrat leader in the Senate, to immediately begin to obstruct the Republican agenda and the Trump agenda. The news media endorsing this, of course, on at least one other network. I think that this is going to be short-lived in a very big way because there's a seething anger just beneath the surface. Right now, for a day, there's disbelief, but as soon as we get past the disbelief, the Democrats will get back to demonizing, vilifying, calling people the most horrible names in the books, separating the country, race, class, gender warfare will be back on the front burner in no time at all.
Gang, let's take a look at some of the popular vote breakdown. And we're comparing 2002 to 2008. Clinton received 6.5 million less votes than President Obama did in 2012. And then Donald Trump received 1.72 million fewer votes than Mitt Romney did in 2012. And some more than that than McCain did in 2008. So Leslie, let me ask you that about this, because Hillary Clinton had that great ground game, everybody said. She had lots of volunteers. We know she poured in a ton of money. How did she not manage to pull through?
Well, I think there are a few things. One was the division in the Democratic Party, and certainly among those Bernie diehard supporters who are either going to stay home or vote for Stein or Johnson. Now, some people would say that didn't matter, but if you look at the perfect storm, in a sense, and you have people who stayed home, the millennials especially, the African Americans, and then some women and others that were not being polled or were not being honest when they were polled, then you look at this perfect storm, if you will, and she just, with the combination of the votes for Stein and for Johnson, and with those that decided to stay home or vote for Trump, that protest vote, if you will, I think that's what they were doing, and that's how come she didn't get some of those numbers of people coming out, and especially in the African-American community. I wasn't surprised about that, I must say, but I thought she would have made up for it with Hispanics, because I thought more African-Americans were going to come out for an African-American nominee
Chris,
than for
let me
a
ask you
Caucasian
then about that, Chris. I was just talking to our correspondent, Leah Gabriel, and she was in Philadelphia. She was in a minority area where they were expecting African-American turnout, and she said they barely saw anybody voting yesterday. Is that the measure of enthusiasm or lack of enthusiasm that Hillary Clinton and her campaign saw evident right there in Philadelphia?
Well, I would certainly think so. And Philadelphia was key, obviously, to winning Pennsylvania for them. And they didn't win Pennsylvania, and it's a calamity. Look, of course, African-American voters are going to show up for Barack Obama. He's the first black president. It makes perfect sense. Hillary is not the second black president. Hillary is Hillary Clinton. She comes off as being disingenuous and dishonest. She continuously makes false claims and false statements. She lacks political skills. She lacks charm. She came off perfectly well this afternoon when it doesn't matter. But people don't like Hillary Clinton. Look, Barack Obama has charms. He's got political skills. He's smooth. People like him. Hillary Clinton has none of those qualities, none of those characteristics.
Well, some of her own folks even said that from some of the WikiLeaks things, that she had essentially terrible political instincts. Leslie, I want to ask you about this. Rand Paul was on our air earlier today, and he talked about how the mainstream media, how pollsters on people on the right and the left coast just missed everybody in what he called flyover country. Let's listen to him, and I want to get your reaction.
the people who live in flyover country, we're kind of tired of people on the left coast and the right coast sort of telling us, you know, what we should believe in. And I think really this was a big repudiation of the liberal elite. And actually, I'm waiting to see if they're all going to be getting on planes or private jets and moving this morning. I hope that'll be fully reported in the news.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of folks. I was there yesterday in Wisconsin about that, about how on earth they were missed. Then let's listen to some Hillary Clinton supporters, and here's what they said today.
Sad for the country. Just sad. You know, good doesn't prevail all the time, and it didn't in this case.
Obviously, he's going to be our president, and I'll support that. But I think it's a dark day for minorities and for women.
Leslie, so where do the Democrats go from here?
Wow, I have a lot to say on this, and I'll make it brief. Yesterday, when I voted, I won't get emotional, for the first woman to possibly be president after over 200 years in our nation, I put my 8-year-old daughter's finger on top of my hand. And I got to say, my eyes look a little puffy today because I cried. I was going to wear white. I'm wearing black. But here's the problem that I have. Chris, I agree with you. There's terrible things that have been said about me and other liberals and the Clintons. I don't know what some people on what you're going to do, Chris, and not having the Clintons to attack the next 4 years. But that aside, it's hard for me to believe a man who says he wants to be the leader of all people and bring us together, when I just remember some of those terrible comments, some of that rhetoric, some of those videos. That's something that I have a hard time wrapping my head around. I hope he's genuine. We all want a better country, regardless who's leading it. We want a good economy. We want to be safer. And we certainly don't want violence and more division.
Well, then let's toss over to Chris on this.
I'm not
Chris,
sure he's capable.
Like Leslie is saying, will he be able to unite the country? Is he capable?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, look, we're a very polarized country. It's going to be difficult to pull us back together. But what Leslie started with was sort of a classic Nixonian thing that we won't have Hillary Clinton to kick around anymore. It's true we won't have Hillary Clinton to kick around. And she may stay on the scene, though. The name calling of the Democrats, honestly, from a videotape with Billy Bush from 11 years ago on a bus when he didn't know he was being recorded, as opposed to Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail talking about a basket of deplorables, describing half of the population of the United States who are irredeemable, who are racist, bigoted, misogynist, Islamophobic, homophobic, awful, terrible people. Now, I mean, honestly, that is where I think she lost most of America. And it's not just flyover country. If you look at the map, 99% of the map is red, and there's a little sort of Jackson Pollock smattering of blue that someone scattered across the map. They've been insulting us, demeaning us, degrading us, calling us the most horrible names in the books, to divide us, to pit us against one another, again along lines of race, class, and gender, and we're sick of it. And I think a lot of Democrats are sick of it.
And people certainly turned out to express that opinion. We're going to have to leave it there. Thanks to you both, Chris Plante, Leslie Marshall. And Leslie, I love the picture of you and your daughter voting. That was fun to see. All right, we'll see you again. We'll see you. Thank you.
Thanks.